All right, let's talk about skin tags. Most of us just write them off as some weird, annoying little cosmetic thing. But what if they're not random at all? What if they're actually a very specific signal your body is sending you? Today we're going to get into a method for dealing with them that's about way more than just what you see on the surface.
So I really want you to consider this question. What if that little skin tag is more than just skin deep? Because, your body doesn't just do things for no reason. It's not just growing extra skin for fun. It's trying to get your attention about something much, much bigger happening on the inside.
And honestly, this is the perfect way to think about it. That skin tag you see, that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's like a little red warning light on your body's dashboard, a visible alarm for a much deeper, invisible metabolic issue that you really need to pay attention to. Okay, so what is this invisible problem? What's the hidden growth factor that's actually causing your body to build this unwanted tissue in the first place? Let's peel back the layers and get right to the source.
The culprit has a name, hyperinsulinemia. And it's actually pretty simple. It just means you have way too much insulin floating around in your blood pretty much all the time. Now here's the key thing you have to understand. Insulin is what's called an anabolic hormone. In plain English, its job is to make things grow. It's the body's master growth signal.
So let's look at the difference here. Normally, insulin's job is to pop up after you eat, manage your blood sugar, and then go away. But when you've got high insulin all the time, it completely changes its job description. It stops being a manager and becomes a relentless 24/7 growth factor, basically telling your cells to grow, 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 which is exactly what fuels things like skin tags.
And if you look at who tends to get skin tags, it all starts to make perfect sense, right? Diabetics, people who are overweight, women with PCOS, what do they all have in common? They all very frequently struggle with high insulin levels and insulin resistance. It's a direct link. The skin tags are a symptom of that deeper problem.
So, knowing all that, how do we actually fix it? Well, we start with part one of the plan, the systemic fix. We have to go deep and starve these growths at their source. We need to shut off that constant growth signal. And here is the three-step strategy to do just that. First, you're going to dramatically lower your carbohydrate intake. Second, you'll eat less often. You might know this as intermittent fasting. And what happens when you do those two things? You force your body to do step three. Switch from burning sugar for fuel to burning ketones instead.
Now, to really make that switch happen, you need a very clear target. You're going to aim for just 20 to 30 grams of carbs for the entire day. That's it. That's the magic number that for most people is low enough to flip that metabolic switch and push you into ketosis.
And the logic behind this is so simple, but it is so powerful. Look, carbohydrates are the main food that tells your body to release insulin. So if you take away the carbs, you take away the primary signal for your body to pump out all that excess insulin. It's really that straightforward. No signal, no growth. All right, now for the second part of our reset. While that systemic fix is doing its work on the inside, we can launch a direct, targeted attack on the outside. This is how we speed things up. Okay, here's the recipe. It's super simple. You're going to take 1 clove of fresh garlic and crush it up. Then mix just 1 drop of that crushed garlic with 1 drop of iodine. Get a Q-tip and apply that mixture very carefully right onto the skin tag itself. Try not to get it on the healthy skin around it. Cover it up with a bandage and just do that once a day until the tag is gone. So why does this simple little mixture work so incredibly well? Well, iodine is an absolute powerhouse. It actually dissolves the protein structure of the tag, it dehydrates the tissue, and it's a potent antiviral. Then you've got the garlic, which contains allicin, another super powerful antiviral compound. You put them together, and you create an environment where that unwanted tissue just can't survive. So you're doing the internal fix, you're doing the topical attack, but how do you actually know if the most important part, that systemic fix, is really working? You need a way to measure it. You need an ultimate biomarker. And here's the crazy part. The usual tests your doctor runs might look totally fine for years, even decades, while this problem is slowly getting worse under the surface. There is a much, much better test, but for some reason, it's one that doctors almost never check for preventatively. It's called a fasting insulin test. It's a simple blood test that measures how much insulin is in your blood when you're in a fasted state. And this is the game changer, because this one number can show that you're heading down the path of insulin resistance literally decades before other markers like your A1C or blood glucose even start to move. So what's the goal? What number are you shooting for? You want your fasting insulin level to be under 5. That's your target. When you hit that number, you know for a fact that you've shut down that chronic internal growth signal. That is your true measure of success.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? This isn't just about getting rid of some annoying skin tags. Testing your fasting insulin gives you a crystal ball into your metabolic future. It lets you see trouble coming and reverse course decades, literally decades, before it turns into a serious chronic disease.
So the real takeaway here is that a skin tag is never just a skin tag. It's a message from your body telling you to look deeper. And that brings us to the final question you should be asking yourself. Now that you know how to read this one signal, what other messages has your body been trying to send you all along?